This is the top 10 gold farms of the week. Let us begin. Coming out at number 1, we have the Tome of Porcupine. This is a mage-specific gold farm, and located within the Jade Forest is the best chances of you being able to obtain said polymorph. This can be farmed from the smoky porcupines within said area, and as you can see on the screen, in the northern tip of the region. Here, you'll be able to farm up these guys within around about a loop-shaped fashion, going all the way around and then gathering them up. By the time you've actually gone round to the beginning again, you'll be able to actually have the porcupines respawn, which is brilliant for us farmers because we always need something to slay in order to get said item. The drop chance on this is at around about 0.3%. However, in my personal farming sessions, I usually average around about 1 per hour, which is quite good in the grand scheme of things. As it's a mage specific gold farm, it tends to sell for a little bit more than generally speaking, and overall this is a great little gold farm to get started with at number 1. Coming in at number 2 is a transmog gold farm. This one is the Ragefire Chasm within Orgrimmar. Now, what you're going to be wanting to do if you are an alliance player, you're going to be wanting to dive bomb your way in there, or by going in as a rogue or a druid and going invisible. This isn't actually that hard, to be honest, as long as you can circumvent the flying guards and watch their route before you actually go in, and then you'll be able to jump into said instance. It goes in part if you're horde, it's just really easy in order for you guys to do. However, you're mainly going in for a wide variety of different types of low-end transmogs. This is perfect for padding out your auction house, but however, there is one keynote item I wish to cover. This is the ceremonial leather loincloth, and it currently goes for around about 52,000 gold on the auction house. It has a sell rate of 0.032, which is brilliant for a transmog. This is commonly used as slot mog, so thereby it is actually in a higher demand than most other transmogs because slot mog, it just sells. But other than that, the other different types of items that you're willing to gain from this is quite wide in variety. Some can net you in nothing and some can net you in quite a lot. It really does depend on your particular run. However, farming this up is relatively simple, very straightforward, and if you are running this on a druid, you can dreamwalk in and out of the instance incredibly fast, making it one of the faster of the dungeons in order to clear and get to your lockout in order to farm up. This is by far one of the most undervalued transmog gold farms, mainly because there's one real keynote item that you're going for. However, the sell rate versus what it actually is going for on the auction house is pretty dang good, and I would highly suggest most people actually try and farm this up. Other than that, let's move on to number 3, which is the Platinum Ore Gold Farm within Stormsong Valley. Stormsong Valley is quite great, especially when it comes towards the honey that we've already covered and the herbs, but Platinum Ore tends to sell rather well as well. If you are willing, then Stormsong Valley just works out incredibly well for farming up the Platinum Ore, Monolite Ore, and the Storm Silver Ore. This goes for generally a good gold price, and in this particular zone, I find that I gain more Platinum Ore than most other zones in Kill Terrace, making it a perfectly good gold farm, especially if you're going to use this in combination with the Royal Jelly gold farm and your herbs. So if you farm this on a druid with all 3 of those things, then you'll be able to gain a stupidly high amount of gold overall, which other than that, there will always be nodes for you, whether or not you're either just using your mining or if you're going to use a combination of the multiple different methods in order to do that I've previously covered in another video. The route is on the screen right now, but I want to just skip over this because I've covered this quite a few times. Up at number 4 is the Ruins of 𝐆𝐀𝐿. If you're going for some high-end transmog gold farming, then I'd highly suggest checking this one out. The most common census is by going left or veering left and just gathering up all of the maggots on the left hand side of the actual particular raid. circumventing past all of the bosses. However, if you are wanting to take another approach to this, I would highly suggest this is by veering right. What you're going to be wanting to do is gathering up all of the scarabs and also all of the Tol'vir that are in this particular raid. Obviously not pulling any of the bosses, and then gathering up and burning them down. The scarabs do have a tendency to knock you back, so make sure that you can crowd control them very well, otherwise you will get flung stupidly high in the air and you will take full damage, just FYI. Are a load of the lofty, glorious, and a load of open world rare and epic items to go along with this, as well as a chance to gain some of the high ticket value recipes. And with this being able to be just farmed incredibly fast, you'll be able to actually gain quite a high amount of gold value. Aside from that, if you're running this on a miner and you take out some of the Tol'vir, they actually drop small and large obsidian chunks. This means that you can sell those on the auction house, as they are used in a few bits of crafting and can net in a very high value to add up to all of that. So you're also gaining materials as well as some high-end transmog gold farms for this. This gold farm in general just is a good staple to just keep and replenished on the auction house. I wouldn't say this is a go-to always. It is one of those ones where you do a few hours every month and then just keep yourself topped up with all of that. If you really wanted to push your luck, then I would highly suggest trying to get some high value recipes from this. However, alongside that, I would very much recommend this as a padding gold farm for your transmog, and the materials are just a little uptick bonus if you are a miner. Other than that, let's move on to number 5, which is the Big Red Ray Gun. This drops from Dr. Weevil within 𝐆𝐀𝐌𝐄 𝐕𝐨𝐢𝐝. Don't forget to change this from the vanilla zone all the way over towards the BFA zone using 𝐳𝐁𝐷ormy. What you'll be wanting to do in Dustwallow Marsh is by heading over towards 𝐆𝐀𝐌𝐄 𝐕𝐴𝐢𝐿and and going into the main hut. Atop the main hut in the big room, you'll be able to find Dr. Weevil. Dr. Weevil has a 4% chance of dropping the Big Red Ray Gun, and his respawn timer is around about 8 to 15 minutes, depending. What I would actually recommend for this particular gold farm is using this as a quick log gold farm, is by parking an ult there and every single day you just log in. It's not one of those ones that you actively farm for an hour. It's one of those ones much like how I would just park an ult there, log in when I wake up in the morning to do my recrafting, and then I just take him out and see if I get the Big Red Ray Gun. The Big Red Ray Gun, on the other hand, actually goes for around about 20k gold, so working this as a quick log gold farm really works out in the grand scheme of things. Other than that, if you are really wanting to get a hold of this, I would highly recommend not actively sitting there for an hour farming it. Just do it as a quick log. In turn brings us into our next one at number 6, which is the Wailing Caverns. Now obviously I like to talk about transmog farms as well as materials and all that jazz in these videos for the top gold farms of the week, and Wailing Caverns is no exception. Wailing Caverns can provide a load of different types of value towards you, and what you're going to be wanting to do is running in and veering left, gathering up all of the raptors and the deviates to go along with that. They have a tendency to drop a lot of the deviate patterns as well as deviate scales, which sell relatively well on the auction house, so I might hasten to add. I would always bring a skinner along with this gold farm, as the additional leather and scales that come along with this add up quite nicely, and the amount of transmog from the Wailing Caverns actually is one of the better of the transmog gold farms. You can also get battle pets such as the deviate hatchling, which can also be sold on the auction house as well, and overall Wailing Caverns is just like a really good all-rounder because it gives you materials, a battle pet, it gives you the different types of recipes from that particular area, which, to be quite frank, sell actually relatively well, and also you can gain a wide variety of different types of transmog. One other different type of transmog that you can get along with this is the Gloves of the Fang. This one doesn't actually sell for all that much. You're mainly going for the volume of these, so this is more of a padding transmog gold farm, as well as the battle pet and the materials that you gain with this. All in all, combined together, makes it a perfectly good gold farm in order for you to do, as it opens up your variety towards the auction house, making yourself able to pull in more gold each and every time. Other than that, let's move on to number 7, which is the Dredged Leather gold farm within Uldum. Now, we previously covered the one in the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, and this is no exception. And what you're going to be wanting to do is turn the zone of Uldum into the Ends of Invasion. What you'll be wanting to do here is by taking out the lions. These lions and hyenas, I might hasten to add, actually drop a wide variety of different types of Dredged Leather. I would highly recommend having it at rank 3 Dredged Leather and rank 3 Bloodstained Bones. This is where the bulk of your gold will be coming from when actually farming this up, and you'll be able to gain a wide variety of different types of materials to go alongside that. All in all, if you are maxed at your rank 3, you're going to pull in a stupidly high amount of gold overall with Dredged Leather, and I find it to be literally one of the better gold farms in order to do. In an hour's worth of gold farming, you're looking at pulling in around about 15 to 16,000 gold, depending on your RNG and all of that jazz. And with the marketplace at this moment in time being quite hard on materials at the moment because of the auction house region merge, this works out quite well for a gold per hour, opening you guys up to a decent gold per hour overall. And with that said, jumping from mob to mob, slaying them as fast as possible will actually make them force respawn even faster because of the Ends of Invasion going on. This makes it a perfectly good gold farm for the amount that you can slay and how fast you can skin them. That being said, you can always use the potion of the Darkmoon Firewater potion, or you can use the skinning enchant from BFA. This will greatly increase your skinning speed, and that will make it even faster for you to take out those mobs as you are probably max level, and be able to farm them even faster, making them force respawn even better. My best way of actually farming this up is just by using my AoE ability on my Demon Hunter and just taking them out, and that just takes them out really fast in the grand scheme of things. On that, let's move on to number 8, which is the Disgusting Oozling gold farm. Now, this one is one that I don't see talked about that much anymore. It's one of those ones that actually does sell for a decent chunk of gold, but it is a little bit tedious. So if you do actually enjoy gold farming, like the grind for the gold farm for that high ticket item, then I'd highly suggest this gold farm over here, which is in the Swamp of Sorrows, where you'll be running around in a circular shaped motion around the rivers, taking out all of the oozlings within them. You have a roughly 8% chance of dropping the oozing bag. Now, this oozing bag you'll get quite a lot of in an hour's worth of gold farming, and by the time you've actually taken them all out, you'll be able to open up this oozing bag at a 1.4% drop chance for the Disgusting Oozling. Time is of the factor, of course, so the amount of mobs that you can slay per hour works out really well. I'd highly recommend using a speed set for this, and along with that, just a mob that can just tag and destroy all of these mobs in a very fast manner will help you greatly. The Disgusting Oozling goes from anywhere from around about 30 to 40,000 gold, and actually nets you in a decent chunk of gold overall, as the sell rate on this is not too bad, a 0.05 sell rate, which is quite high for a standardized battle pet. Overall, if you actually level it all the way up to level 25 using Squirt Day or Super Squirt Day, then you'll be able to actually sell that for a lot more gold, as this oozling works out quite well in the grand scheme of things. Moving on to that, at number 9 we have the Great Sea Ray. The Great Sea Ray comes from the profession of fishing within either Kiltaras or Zandalar. What you're going to be wanting to do is just go to any of the coastlines in any of the zones, and you'll be just sitting there fishing. I like to fish in Vol'dun, mainly due in part of it's just a nice zone to fish in, and I like the music, and I can just binge watch stuff. But overall, when it comes towards this one, it's more of an RNG. So if you really want to go for an RNG based gold farm, then the Great Sea Ray is yours. From anywhere from 130,000 to 275,000 gold for this mount, you'll be wanting to just sit there and fish. This mount is a little bit insane when it comes towards fishing this up, as the drop chance is currently at around about 0.7% for this particular mount. That is quite close to 0.1%, however, it's 0.07, however, that means that you're going to be sat there for quite a while fishing up this mount. Overall, I find that this mount has sold quite well in the grand scheme of things, and overall, when it comes towards selling this mount, it sells rather frequently for me, in my experience. That being said, if you are wanting to grind out and just do a chilled out gold farm, then a standard fishing gold farm that could net you in a big chunk of gold very heavily is something I would recommend here for anyone just wanting to just have a chilled out gold farming session. On to our last gold farm at number 10, which is the Nightmare Welping gold farm, where you'll be wanting to go over towards the Legion expansion, and within here you'll be wanting to go into the Emerald Nightmare. What you're going to be wanting to do here is you're going to be able to take out 𝐵𝐸𝐿, and by taking her out, she has a 1.12% chance of dropping the Nightmare Welping. Now this Nightmare Welping goes for a stupidly high amount of gold, currently around about 20k gold for this particular battle pet, and because obviously this was from the Legion expansion, you'll be able to solo this with most of your classes and or characters. This is a fairly easy raid in order to actually do, especially when it is the Emerald Nightmare. At that 1% drop chance for this particular battle pet, you could do this on an alt army and just bash that through a load of different types of alts and see if you get a hold of this battle pet. The sell rate on this is at 0.015, which is okay to be precise. However, if you level up to level 25, the gold value for this actually near on doubles for this particular battle pet, meaning that if you wait for Squirt Day and Super Squirt Day and you're just constantly farming this, you can actually increase your gold by nearly on double for your time invested. And with Squirt Day being so fast to level up to level 25 on your pet, it's definitely worth setting up that to go along with that. Other than that, that is everything I have to say for the 10 best gold farms of the week. Have an awesome rest of the day, and if you want any other additional types of gold making resources or along with my TSM profile, then please feel free to go over towards the Patreon. Other than that, have an awesome rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be soon.